What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch with a quick news roundup and discussion video. Similar to Bastion and Torbjorn, Mei has been the next hero to be disabled while they work on a fix. Mei will currently be unavailable until the November 15th patch, which is of course where they bring along all of the balance updates and everything else they're packing in together on that build of the game. Game director Aaron Keller said this on Twitter: "This issue was reproducible in multiple locations and can be used to get behind map geo. Working hard to get it resolved soon." The November 15th patch was delayed due to multiple reasons, most of them technical, I believe, so this fix aims to be packaged along with them. Overwatch 2 has been under controversy recently for the prices of items in the skin shop. Feline Junkie on Reddit said they got an email from Blizzard requesting that I fill out a survey. It heavily touched on topics regarding the Battle Pass and the Overwatch store. If you haven't already, be sure to fill it out. I really hope it's a first step towards change. Because of course, it seems ridiculous on paper when a physical object is costed less than its only pixels counterpart in-game.
Overwatch Pachamari keychain, $5. Wait, it costs more in-game than out-of-game. Oh no!
I'm curious where Blizzard goes with this to try to get more of the community and player base on their side. I'm personally kind of tired of talking about this when there's such a good game in front of us to play. And to some degree, if I can't convince you that the skins in the Overwatch Battle Pass are far higher quality, more imaginative, more creative, more transformative, when they take one character and make them look like an entirely separate one, I think players sometimes forget. That's almost like designing an entirely separate character. Meanwhile, Battle Passes in other games just look like shiny recolors for their legendaries, and to me, that looks like our base standard, maybe epic skin or something. But there's no accounting for taste with this kind of thing, and there are some players that prefer to have easier access to what I think is a much lower quality standard of cosmetic, whereas Blizzard went for more of a premium route, where they want to put high quality things in it, but you can't go infinite and you're going to need to grind in order to afford it. Or, you know, pay $10 every few months, which is what I intend to do. And once in a while, buying a awesome skin for one of my select heroes. It appears, based on them sending out a survey, that maybe they're thinking about this a little bit more. So if Blizzard is paying close attention, I think it would be smart of them to make solutions for a lot of the complaints that I've seen on Reddit, that because the dailies are so important to your Battle Pass grind, but they're actually kind of easy to finish, it sort of feels like you complete your dailies and then just come back tomorrow and there's not much else to do because the reward structure for non-payment is so low. I struggle with this because I just want to play ranked and get better as a player and love the gameplay. But I also am one of the few creators that has been talking about how important RPG systems are for replayability. It's tricky for them because they don't want players to have to go for certain challenges and play differently than they would otherwise just because they have a challenge. But on the other hand, players want things to do. So I don't know how they're going to fix that. Good luck, Blizzard. Something to think about is that in other games where you buy gun skins, or there's far fewer heroes or characters or agents or whatever they're called, there's less of the problem that Overwatch has, where because we've already admitted and well established that each player plays less than 3 heroes, well, why would you buy a premium skin for a hero you don't play? It's one thing as an add-in in a battle pass, but another thing for supply and demand. I've seen a lot of people argue that the prices should be lower in the shop because more people would buy, and I'm not sure that's actually true. I play a ton of heroes, and there's quite a few that I just will never buy a premium cosmetic for. But there's like 5 that are really close to my heart. You might catch me out, Blizzard, if you put one in the shop that I really like. Reaper is such a character, a staple in my hero pool, but I don't even like this skin that they have in the shop right now. So I'm gonna pass on this one. And for me, it's nothing to do with whether it's $10 or $20. I just don't want this one. And I already have so many great ones, including the Overwatch League skins that I farm for free. So I know a lot of people want me to be very upset, like many of you are, about the microtransaction issue. I just don't really have much more to say than I already have said. It appears, based on them sending out a survey, that maybe they're thinking about this a little bit more. A couple closing points on the Overwatch League. It gained 1 million subscribers. And Boo on Reddit reminds us that this is the final week of the exclusivity contract on YouTube. Watching the playoffs, I believe the viewership peaked at 200,000. And we're not even at the grand finals yet, which will be on Friday. That's quite good, and I'm seeing a lot of comments from players that are either brand new to Overwatch esports or even esports in general. Perhaps part of the uptick is it's such an easy way to gain cosmetics that free-to-play players are willing to tune into the league. And well, that's kind of the idea with that, isn't it? So the game's been out a while, and the uptick in viewership really only seemed to hit when the playoffs hit, so I'm unsure how would I feel about that exactly. Maybe it's reached a critical mass. I saw this post on Reddit by Wabaz asking about the team compositions. Are they usually a mirror match? And a few good questions about what's making the comp strong in the meta right now. Why pick Reaper over other characters? And hey, isn't it quite boring to see the same 5 characters all the time? Yes, it is. So the thing with the Lucio Kiriko comp is it has the most mobility of any comp we've ever seen, seeing as you can send Kiriko on flanks on her own as a damage threat with a pickoff potential better than a lot of DPS who can play flanks, and she can escape. So there's a huge currency around that mobility and escapability, and you don't really need an additional damage pickoff threat ahead of Sojourn. So what the comp tends to do is either set up pressure and dives from Kiriko on an off angle, hitting that kunai headshot applies a rule in Overwatch that is typical in a lot of metas where a flanker or a ranged threat lands damage, gets some of the enemy's resources out, and then the dive comes in, which is a bit of a misconception. I think a lot of players assume the tank just sees a target, dives it wantonly, and that's how dive works. And in reality, it's a little bit more about holding map, pressuring, seeing an advantage, then capitalizing. The 2 damage threats on the outside of Sojourn and Kiriko kind of set that up, and then the rest of the team with Lucio, Winston, and Reaper are kind of the core that either follows up on damage, cleans up fights, plays the objective, and does kind of all the in-between. A lot of players were upset that Genji got nerfed, but honestly, whether he was nerfed or not, I think the natural pairing for Reaper, pairing with Kiriko and against her, would have made him the pick either way. Because Kitsune Rush is so devastating, you need mobility to either fully get out or like immunity cooldowns to sort of play the immunity metagame. Because she lands a Suzu, you might need to escape yourself, so like a Wraith form's really good at that. And then also keep in mind, Reaper is a type of character that benefits greatly from speed boosts, allowing him to close the distance. And with 2 speed boost options, he can do that. And Kitsune Rush really amplifies everything about him. Reaper is a little weak with his fire rate sometimes and reload speed. Kitsune Rush fixes that while letting him close the distance, which kind of breaks his natural passive of lifesteal. So you can get on your face, deal a ton of damage, and be tankier than he was before. A lot of picks just can't go toe-to-toe with that. And because Sojourn's so strong, Reaper in the positioning exchange battle can kind of just help keep Sojourn alive and mark whatever tank comes after her. And you'll see a lot of the teams in the playoffs and grand finals this week jockey for position, set up their Sojourn, or look for some pressure to capitalize on, and that's kind of the gist of this meta so far. I think on some wide open maps, you can get away with playing other heroes, and I've been working on a video to kind of highlight the things I just said about the main meta as well as the counter meta picks. A few problems I think Blizzard has right now is that Sojourn, as we all know and discussed in the last few videos, kind of needs a rework, so she's better at lower tiers and not the be-all end-all pro level character. But I also think Kiriko is offering a massive problem because in a pre-made team, you can coordinate around Suzu so much better. Whereas when you're playing with randoms, everyone's kind of splitting up all over the place and it's undetermined where the fights should happen and your planning pre-fight is nowhere near as good, well, then using Suzu feels kind of difficult. But you'll see these pro teams really play around it and use it to almost what's called play for tempo, where just to close the distance a little bit and gain some damage advantage, they might pop it on everybody just so they can move forward, make their Reaper invulnerable while he's using Death Blossom. And the reason you won't see any team attempt a character like Ana is that Suzu is powerful enough if you set up a bait for her to use an ability and then cleanse it, you're at a massive advantage. Whereas in ranked, I think everything's sloppy enough where there's like gaps where you're not all going to play around the Suzu to protect yourself, right? A pro team, though, is going to do that and coordinate and position right so that they get maximum Suzu value. Because it's both an invulnerability and a cleanse, it kind of offers everything you could ask for. And you can't really apply any status effect type characters because of that. And then it kind of comes down to, well, are the skill shot characters strong enough to then beat most other comps? And between Kiriko and Sojourn, I think that answer is yes. Even when they fail, the Reaper can do quite a lot. just brawling on the objective and in the main fight. So what do you want me to say? Okay, I've asked for hero bans for like 6 years. Okay, so if they don't draft heroes, then there's going to be openings for a pre-made team to really make a invulnerable style comp that doesn't really have counters. And I think Kiriko is going to be a massive balancing nightmare. The gap between her, I think, for the average player and in a pre-made is just so immeasurable. I think it's worse than Brigitte. It's like if Brigitte had headshots, you had land. The skill chasm and understanding to position around it, but then on top of it, to just pilot the kit yourself. How do they balance this? I have no idea, but hopefully with that brief preview, you can watch this week as a viewer and at least get a little bit more out of what the teams are trying to set up. There's kind of two battles going on. There's the skill shot battle to take and hold space, and then there's the ultimate exchange going on, which is even more complicated, I think, but all the heroes in the team comp are really good at either dodging or utilizing the ultimates that are in play. Who do you think is going to win it all? I think the safe money right now would probably be on the Dallas Fuel at this moment. And my reason for that is they take fights the fastest. They're the most decisive, and this is the kind of meta that really rewards decisive play. In teams that prefer to kind of set up a little bit more, angles a little longer, it doesn't really work because the speedy core of the team will just run you over. While we spoke a lot about all the other characters, I think low-key the biggest carry that is going to end up winning it all is the best Winston player. Because the healing is kind of low in these comps, Winston's got the biggest gap to create a huge ripple effect from team fight to team fight. And Fearless on the Dallas Fuel is the best in the business, I think. And because Dallas plays so efficiently, even when you're winning fights against them, it's like you don't get as much objective progress as you would have thought. And before you know it, they've worked up to their own resources and seemingly have a better game plan on where to deploy those. And that's a very intentional term for this meta, I feel, because Winston Bubble and the Kiriko Gates are deployed in a spot. You kind of want to think about how those can get maximum value and sort of watch where the monkey bubble goes and where the gates go. Which one are set up to do more for the team? Between all the skill shots and focus fire, those are things that are going to dramatically change and swing fights. And no team in the league is better at seeing small windows of opportunity quickly and then going for it. And before you know it, they're clutching a fight that you never thought they could, thanks to how well they understand the map geography and the resources they have to play with. Let me know your thoughts on everything we covered today in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos go live. It's like I'm sliding right into your DMs. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.